I want to give a jolt here to everybody and wake them up about the positive news that I gave yesterday. So you don't understand very well why that is positive news because you don't understand at least Chinese culture. So the most frequent comment that I read yesterday under that video was, that is not good news, that is bad news, they're destroying evidence. Do you actually expect that justice will be given in a court of law? Do you think MENGLONG is going to get justice in the court of law? You're sorely misled. And that's because you don't understand that culture. How this case was built from the get-go was like this. The opposing faction of Xi Jinping and Cai Ji, which was led by Zhang Youxia, in control of the military now, as far as we know, they knew about the killing parties, and they recorded one, rape, torture, and kill, never stopped it, never took out the victim, who had a lot of evidence from those 12 years. They never thought to save that man, and with the recording so far, and with the information that he had, build a case in court. They never thought about it. They still have the whole recordings. Okay, I kept telling you, there are two sides recorded. One was Song Yiren or whoever the heck was recording from the killers to broadcast it on the dark web. But the other side recording, everybody, was the military who wanted to discredit those people. That's why we got all the places, like the Bulgaria Hotel, the museum, the Shandong East, whatever. That's why we got the list of people attending. No paparazzi would have known that. That's why we knew everything that they did inside. No paparazzi would know that because they were outside. They didn't know what the heck they were doing. The beating, the pulling of nails, of teeth, the rape, the cutting. They didn't know about that. Only people with a lot of high-tech surveilling that place knew. Did they take that to court? No. Do you understand? The people in the Chinese Communist Party, they didn't take that case to court. They leaked it to the public so that they would disgrace Xi Jinping and Cai Ji in the public's eyes. And therefore, they thought that the other people inside their faction would betray them. And it is true, according to Lei, that a lot of people in the Chinese Communist Party did not attend the fourth plenum. There were a lot of absentees. It was brutal from that sense. But nobody there thinks in terms of taking the evidence to court, not even the people in the Chinese Communist Party. You got to understand, over there, it's not the court of law that matters. Over there, it's the court of the people that matters. That's it. So unless you really give up your mindset for a while, at least when you're dealing with this case, and start to really understand and absorb that culture, you're going to be frustrated, and you're not going to see why them taking down the exhibitions from those museums, moving them. You're not going to see why them burning down that building where the illegal shell company's headquarters were. You're not going to understand why that is positive news. Do you know why that is positive news? Nobody cares about evidence there. Not in that regime right now. Wake up. What they care about is the fact that they're exposed. And now they're giving clear or showing clear signs that they are afraid, that they are intimidated, that there's a lot of public opinion on them. Please do not think in terms of democracy, especially people who have never lived in a communist regime, ever. So if you're an Eastern European, you have some idea of what I'm talking about. If you've ever read the book called The Trial by Kafka, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't have any of that information, you don't know what I'm talking about, and you think that's not positive news. It is positive news. Those people, in their actions, have admitted their guilt. Do you understand me? They backed away. They backed off. What did they do so far? They were blatantly showing evidence to the people. It was put in the heart of the city. They killed that man and other men. Okay, some of the other actors from that agency also died in the same residence as MENGLONG died. They did it in the heart of the city because they were that confident. Tian Hairong, the woman who was one of the attendees of that party, there was a recording that was leaked on Threads from her Weibo account. It was from 2018, so that was 7 years ago. She was explaining about sake and detailing on a bottle something. I don't speak Chinese, I don't understand, I just read the comments. In the background, there were MENGLONG's screams and sounds of beating. You understand me? She had that video on her Weibo. And I was shocked. I was like, I can't understand how these people are so careless that they're leaving evidence. Because that is evidence. You can still isolate the voices and identify the voice in the background. Again, compare it to MENGLONG's voice. And you can confirm it's him. And what was he doing? Was he screaming of pleasure all of a sudden? No. And I said, I don't understand how these people are leaving evidence so blatantly out there, so careless, so negligent. And the answers all came because they were very sure that nobody would look, nobody would do anything. Nobody would look in their way, nobody would mind. Yeah. Do you understand? And Xiao Liang's body, they had the audacity to leave that body in such a brutal state in the public view and then cover it up with suicide. Nobody's body that is suicide looks like that. They were so sure that they were upfront with everything. Now they're backing down. This is, over there in that culture, an admission of guilt. And an admission of an actual defeat. Defeat all the way? Not yet. Significant or major defeat on the front? Yes. Unless you understand that culture, you're going to keep expecting to have justice in the way that democratic countries deliver justice. That's not going to happen. What we say here, it doesn't matter to them. Only because the people in China are still pressuring them. And I forgot to tell you yesterday another piece of good news. Many people, Chinese people from China, are sending letters to the authorities. Some of them signed in blood, requesting official investigations on MENGLONG's case. That pressure is amounting inside the country. That's who they care about. Okay, that is who they care about. So we here, we're an extra pressure, but we're not the main pressure. The Chinese people in China are the main pressure on them. And right now, because the Chinese people in mainland China put out the evidence, because they also realize we're not going to take it to court because nobody's going to listen anyway, and it doesn't matter. What matters is the opinion of the people. Because they did that, that's how they're fighting over there. You got to trust the Chinese people because they know their own culture. We here are not going to bring them justice. We here are just called to help, okay? We're auxiliary to this. We're not the main character. You got to understand this. And we are here to understand their culture if we want to help them in any way. So understand that the positive news yesterday, in their culture, it is positive news. Evidence doesn't matter there. The people's opinion matters.
She has a quite good point. And what she's talking about is the culture barrier. And, well, from her statement, yeah, we have different kinds of cultures and laws. Every country, actually. But for me, I can relate by being in an Asian country because the agenda itself. Because that country, China, is one of the powerful country in here in Asia. Like if we put it in Europe and Western. And one of the powerful country example is US or Europe or etc. But what are they going to control? They're neighboring. Most of the time, they're neighboring. And even though they have different kinds of culture, but they are similar and has a same way on their livings. So even though I can say they have different kinds of language, they cannot understand one another, but they are neighboring. Most of their goods, most of their transactions, most of their political, etc. is most of their neighboring or that they can easily gain power. Because in this modern times, goods transaction through imports, exports is important. Business. One would be, they would be boycott easily. They will be afraid, yes, of rumors. And the relationship will be affected. They will be cast away. If they are afraid inside of their country, they will also with their neighborings. So, when this truth came out, people can decide to boycott this kind of business transaction. But still, it depends. It depends on the leadership itself also. So no choice. If even though it's hard, the gain here is to spread the messages or even the evidences that they are spreading, so that all will know, all will be cautious, all will be observant and very vigilant with their neighborings and those people that they welcome in their country. Everything will be affected at that part. They will think wisely, realize their transactions, especially with this kind of race. And I think my country is starting. Because how will you welcome a country that thinks syndicate, not spread peace, but destroy even its own people? Right? If international courts cannot help, how about the moral itself? The questioning which is, this time, is it really modernized and education is spreading, or we are still in the barbaric time that what they are doing? I thought they are the number ones who is spreading Buddhism, and Buddhism is, the teaching of Buddhism is quite beautiful. Family-oriented, self-oriented, well-mannered oriented. But look at them. Are they? So for us to make them realize who they are also, which is money-monger. Money hunger mongers. And power. That's why, because the reasons there's a lot of videos that giving an evidence, which is they are hungering the power, the money, and of course giving a realization to the government itself, especially for my loving country. They wanted to welcome the blessings. They have to do a part to welcome the blessings. One of the reasons why those countries will come down, because of the consequences or bad karma that will come. They wasted the hard works of their people. Even though they are very advanced in technology, they wasted that part. So I understand now that even though we are very full at the education of spirituality, as the other people is seeing a bad example for others, that's why they will say, they are doing actually, why will not I do it also? That's why there are people that is like that in every country. They are seeing someone which is can do it, why not me? I can do it also. But if a person awakened the realization, reflection, etc., knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence, the common sense, there's a good change that will happen. So, the decision itself is still by itself at the end. So I hope my government will realize something. The government, our government here in our country, that by looking them as an example, they went up, but at the end they will go down. So, for you, China, for your part, it's you people, because you are still revolving in the era of communist. you have to, I think, it's better for you to decide what side will you fight. Don't allow that the ones who is sitting to rule you will be the reason why you will go down. You experienced that one through the history many times. Don't let your hard works will be gone as the consequences that will come. It's up to you. I may say God or Buddha. You know what's right and wrong. You know what's to fight. You know from the morals that the Buddhism is teaching. You know what's correct. He was the citizen. You are the ones who will fight for that country. You're even the biggest land here in Asia. How come you cannot fight a million people or a billion people for one leader that thinks he can control you all? Are you having that feeling of fear? Christianity is being introduced to you, so I think you know God. I know you're aiming as a citizen there to have a peaceful life. Having fear all the time is not good, right? It's like your human rights are being held by a leader. Remember the last emperor that you fought, the ancestors fought to bring down his crown. What's happening now? Are you fearing your life? It's better to end your life fighting with the right reason way than a lie, right? Because at the end, it's not only for yourself, but for the next generations. What will happen if all people will be like them? you torture you torture one of each of you, like I can say, you will give an example, the zombies. More better example, all will be bandits, then you will all hide with one another, then catch one another. What will happen with the situation? It's so dangerous, right? And I think we have all that kind of era. And are we going to let it be back again? So it's time for you to fight for the human rights, because it's like the human rights there in your place is you have no right to talk, you have no right to do this one, you have no right to. We are all children of God. Whatever our race is, she's telling a truth also, that only you, as people of China, can resolve your own problem. As every country is actually, whether we have an international laws that is holding us for crimes like the ICC, that they are being involved. I think that's in UN. Fight for the laws that is revolving in your country, the laws that they made. Don't let it as a cloak only, that it will say that law is protecting you. Fight for your next generation and the next generation of your generation. Because I think this happened before also. I searched one massacre, which is part of cannibalism also. And politicians at the time are involved also. Then, why is it now it's happening again? Like the people vote to, so that those people that are involved will come down. But why is it now? And let's stop. Because this is already modernized time. Education is already here. Let's stop that toxic ritual. We already call that in education, it's an cult or Illuminati cult rituals. Through Christianity, that is old times. So we should have already evolved with the new, which is the real education. Not only money and technology is important. Why is it you're forgetting the ones you are teaching? The morals, characteristic. Is that fake or real? I think some may be even idolize that kind of teaching from you as being a Chinese. Because how the way you manage businesses, emotions, etc. But why is it like declining? At the end, it's you yourself will decide what you will fight. Our brothers and sisters in China, hope you will listen. Through your real inner self. The real freedom, the real essence of life. That teaching even started from you also. That kind of essence, not all came from Western or Europe. From Asian countries, you are one of the countries here in Asia that is developing, started the first develop, I mean. Like the medicines, doctors. We have also here in my country, but you are more quite good in many stuffs and medicines. And more. Even clothing, right? Is there still things to be admired from you? I hope so. Good luck to you as being citizen of China. I hope one of the Chinese people will see this post, I guess.